The done button. Was I supposed to hit the done
I
button?
mean, it was blue.
I know it was blue. You'd think that that was the button that you were supposed to click. I wonder if we're live. 45, 46, 47, 48. Well, boys and girls, is there anybody on here with us this fine evening? Oh, that's a nice sound.
Michael Greenhill's on here.
Michael Greenhill, I think, is playing with me on Sunday.
Ooh.
And surprise, surprise, I believe it's going to be a co-op scenario with
Ooh,
David Lowe.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I wasn't going to schedule David Lowe, for the obvious reasons.
I don't.
You know.
No, I don't.
He's such a troublemaker.
He's
that
a
one.
peach. What are you talking about?
He's a troublemaker. That one. He's nothing but trouble.
I think you're talking about yourself.
That could be possible. Is the audio coming through, boys and girls? 45, 46, 47, 48. See, I have to count out loud. Bessy makes fun of me because I always count out loud. She's just lucky I don't have to take off my shoes to count. Because normally
you do
I
for
do.
some things.
For some things.
But not for
If I get
this.
over 7, I have to take off my shoes to count. So we have a couple minutes before we officially go live. 45, 46, 47, 48. These are the scenarios of the month that will finish out the rest of the year. So these will be going out quite soon. And, oh, doggone it, I'm not supposed to be talking about this yet. Shh.
Shh, it's a secret.
Forget I mentioned it. Just forget I mentioned it.
We can't. You already mentioned it.
No,
You already
don't.
mentioned it.
45, 46, 47, 48. So that's 48 scenarios of the month. So, no, I was going to start talking about the scenario. I can't talk about it. Can't talk about it.
What do you want to talk about? Let's
It's
talk about something else.
It's a
talk about
secret.
something-
We went to see that movie Jungle Cruise. And it was kind of interesting. I don't go to it, expecting to see a good movie, but I thought it was enjoyable and entertaining. I got to say up front, I am not a fan of Mr. Rock. Never have been. Never really found him to be that entertaining of a person. But he does not do a bad job in this, doing what he does.
That's glowing.
Well, I don't know. I think the sets are cool in it. And I think on a movie like this, it's 8 o'clock. On a movie like Jungle Cruise, I think you kind of go into it, just kind of looking for stuff to have fun with. I think the gal, what was her name in it? Emily Blunt. She does a bang up job. And what was the name of that fella? Jack Whitehall. He does a bang up job. And there are a few other standout characters in there. Very interesting. It's a little over the top at times, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean got like later on. I kind of wish that they had kind of reined in some of the supernatural stuff, but it's a little over the top. What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
I did too. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it.
I had low expectations.
Low expectations.
Because I don't like to be disappointed.
Oh, I got the wrong shirt on. I gotta go change my shirt.
Are you off camera?
I was on camera. Well, I'm not on camera. Sorry.
Striptease over here. This is a family show, sir.
It's like Mr. Rogers. It's like
Mr. Rogers never took his whole shirt off with his
He did too.
with his unmentionables on display on there when he was changing out his loafers.
All right. So I have a specific shirts that I wear for the show.
Now you know the secret.
See, and they are completely they are completely
Can't you tell?
different. Completely different than the other shirt that I had on. Don't you tell me otherwise.
Oh. And this is what I live with every day.
I have in the closet, I have specific shirts that I only wear for the videos
Why?
because they are the video shirts.
Hey, it's 8:02.
Hey everybody, this is Dave here at Pulp Alley, and we are doing a live video. I am with the world's most dangerous Bessy. This is going to be about a 30-minute video tonight. We're going to talk about just some news and some updates. I don't know how many of you saw our video from earlier today, but if you didn't watch that one, you ought to go back and watch it. I don't know, I posted it. I did an experiment today trying out live streaming from my mobile device.
I'm shocked.
So I was just like holding it and like putting it down and like talking to it and stuff like that.
How do I turn this off?
I just work here. 46, 47,
We'll say this is the last one
48.
so we can focus on the video.
So it's kind of interesting, and it gives me a little more freedom. And I was almost going to try it for tonight's video, but I still need to test it a little bit more and make sure. In some ways, I thought the picture quality might have been a little bit better. I was also thinking that maybe we'll actually get a little bit better audio for Bessy because I have my microphone attached here, and maybe if we were both just talking to the phone, but if it was placed too far away, then that could be an issue too. So we'll just have to see on that. You know, if we were talking to the phone and it was sitting on the other side of the table so that it was far enough back that it could get a wide shot of us. But I don't know. I honestly think that maybe, you know, if it was sitting about right here or so, about a little over halfway across the table, it might be able to catch both of us. Maybe. We'll just have to see.
It's casual.
So we were talking about the movie. What was it? Jungle Cruise. And I enjoyed it. I would actually recommend going to see it. Although I'm not a fan of The Rock, and I always say that because I'm not. But it was enjoyable, and I think you can see a lot of pulp ideas in there, and it would be fun as like a as you know, to get some ideas for some Pulp Alley adventures and scenarios and stuff like that. I think it would be fun. I think this will be the last one we do. Okay, I guess I'll just do it myself. So this is what we do at night. Look at us. We're like we're taking stuff and we're putting it in bags and we're putting it in stuff and we're doing the things with the things. Then you take that off and then you close this over. So these are the scenarios of the month for the rest of the year. So those of you that are subscribers, I think we just recently got a new subscriber.
Woo-hoo.
So boys and girls, it's not too late to get on the fun train.
Woo woo.
Woo woo! If you'd like to be a subscriber to the Pulp Alley Scenarios of the Month, it is a 12-month subscription. So if you subscribe right now, it is still for the 2021 series. So if you subscribe to the 2021 subscription, then that's what you get. So you would start with whatever the first scenario was for this year. I don't remember, like 36 or something. And then from 36 to the last one that we'll do this month will be, or this year will be 48. So, and you'll get all 12. You'll get all 12 of the scenarios. If you do the basic subscription, then you just get the PDF file, which Bessy will send it to you. She will, if you subscribe like later in the year, like if you subscribed right now, she will send you all of the previous scenarios via email, and then you will receive the remaining scenarios as they are released. So typically we aim for about the middle of the month. We're actually a little bit behind this month and have not sent out the scenario for this month, but it is coming up very quick. Should we talk a little bit about no, I talked a little bit about the remaining 4 scenarios in the video today, so I don't want to rehash that. Old news. But if you're interested in what the last 4 scenarios are, go back and watch that video from earlier today, and you'll get some cool information about it. Do you have any information or any questions or thoughts from the boys and girls?
Can we order the previous year's scenarios of the month?
Yes, and those are called bundles. So you'll go into the Pulp Alley store and you'll look for the 2020 scenario of the month bundle or something like that. Just be careful that it's split into the basic and the super. So if you do the basic collection, maybe it's called the collection. I don't remember now.
It's just PDFs if it's basic.
Yeah, if it says basic, then it's just the downloadable files. If you do the super, then that includes the cards as well.
Gorgeous cards.
Lovely cards. Lovely.
Hand packaged.
By hand.
By hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you haven't done so already, make sure you click that like button, because how could you not be enjoying this? And if you're not a subscriber, you need to hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, be sure you click that bell, because you never know when Dave has a wild hair and just turns on his cell phone and goes live in the middle of the day without any trousers on.
We can almost guarantee that would not happen. It's not 100% sure, but it's pretty guaranteed. We have a question on here, though.
Another one.
Okay, this is Manny Marino.
Manny Marino, how you doing, sir, in California?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. At what point do you encounter a peril for dangerous terrain? When a character starts in that terrain, when the character activates, or when it reaches 6 inches and attempts to move further?
It was the first 2. So in perilous terrain, in a perilous area. So if you activate in it, you must take the peril immediately. That's when you do it. So if you activate in a perilous area, you take a peril immediately, and it could cause you to basically lose your activation. Bam, it's over. So that's one. The other thing is, as soon as you encounter a perilous area, so if you are outside of a perilous area and you move into contact with it, as soon as you come into contact, you must roll for a perilous area. So those are the 2 times right there. So if you activate in it and if you come into contact with it. Did that answer it? I hope that answered it. Good question.
I think your models here really
that's what
like hammered it home.
That's what really sold it right there.
You know,
I always dreamed of being a hand model, like most young boys. Okay, what's next?
No, that's it. Oh, they want to see the full miniature collection in a video one day.
Yeah, I don't know that I would ever be able to do that, because
you could do a scan.
All we do out here is the stuff that we use regularly. So there are rooms where
Boxes.
other miniatures are. So I don't know that I could ever actually show you my whole collection, but I could show you what we have lying in state. what we have out here. Is that not the right term? Does that not mean what I think it means? That's not what any of this means.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
don't know.
But we have a lot of pulpy stuff out here. But if I need fantasy stuff, if I need sci-fi stuff, if I need 15 millimeter stuff, if I need ancients, if I need yada yada,
the yada yada.
The yada yada. If I need my cowboys, if I need western, if I need Victorian sci-fi, almost none of that stuff is kept out here. All of that stuff is in the annex.
And you don't want to venture. It's a dangerous world.
Yeah. Okay. Good question, though. Did you guys see the little snippet that we did today, the little tour? And I think we would like to maybe try and do a little bit more of a tour around and just kind of show you, walk around. Because one is I'd like to talk about some of the storage ideas. And we have obviously we do not have the same limitations that a lot of folks do. This is basically an entire house that's pretty much just devoted to Pulp Alley stuff. So it's like, if you moved everything out of your house and then you just filled it with Pulp Alley stuff, that's kind of what this is here, the Casa Pulp Alley. And we live next door. So there's Casa Pulp Alley, then we don't actually live here. So we have two what would be considered bedrooms that are also used for storage. And anyway, one of them is full of box games, board games, models, all that kind of stuff. And then the other one is filled with miniatures of wide variety, terrain of a wide variety, and stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't belong, in this area. And then I also have several carts that I use, that I wheel out, that I keep in the spare rooms, and then I'll put certain things on there, like city terrain all on one cart, or jungle terrain all on one cart. And then when I have a specific setting that I'm doing, I'll wheel out the jungle cart or the desert cart, or those carts out of the back rooms, and then I'll do it that way. But I've been, like, Bessy would like me to talk about this table. I don't want to go too far here, but Bessy would like me to talk a little bit about how we put this table together. And I'm not saying that this table is something that you should be doing at home, but
it's impeccable.
It's pretty cool, the way we put this together. It is basically two kitchen cabinets that were stuck together like, it'll be better when I actually have time to show it to you. And then we just put a countertop over it. So it has it has drawers on both ends. It has cabinet space under both sides. So it's pretty cool. It'll be better when I show it to you rather than try to explain it now.
You could do a little hand and the drawers. Maybe that's too graphic. That's not the way you do things. Okay, we have a question. Okay, can you explain the difference between difficult terrain and perilous terrain?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Perilous terrain is always perilous. So those two things that I mentioned earlier, when you started it, or if you touch it, you must roll. So that's perilous terrain. Difficult terrain is only perilous if you are trying to move over 6 inches. So, and that means like your whole move, not if you're trying to move 6 inches through the difficult terrain. It means like for your whole move, like let's say there's a little patch of difficult terrain here, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say you started over here and you want to move over here. And let's say the difficult terrain is only like 2.5 inches wide. So when you start over here, and if you want to move 12 inches, as soon as you touch this difficult terrain, because you are trying to move over 6 inches, you must check for a peril there. Even if you started in it, let's say I started in the difficult terrain, right? I'm touching it. I'm touching the difficult terrain. Look at me. I'm touching it.
I see.
And I want to move 12 inches. Well, I only have like maybe an inch of difficult terrain that I'm actually going to move through. But because I am trying to move over 6 inches, then that makes the difficult terrain perilous. Accidents happen when you're in a hurry.
That's true.
So the amount of difficult terrain that you're trying to move through is not the determining factor. It's whether or not how far you're trying to get and how fast you're trying to move through it. If you're not being careful, that's when accidents happen.
Sure.
Little piece of wisdom for you there. You should get some needlepoint out and put that down on a pillow. Accidents happen.
But don't rush when you do
when
that.
you're in a hurry, because if you rush, then you like stick yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So the next scenario of the month that I need to send out will be 45, and hopefully I'll get those, or Bessy holding up the convoy. Hopefully Bessy will get these sent out, the scenarios sent out, the PDF files by the weekend, before Monday. I'll just say it that way. The cards, I'm going to try and get them packaged up and maybe able to get them out either tomorrow or Saturday. Probably more likely that I'll go on Saturday. They love seeing me on Saturday with a big box of,
Yeah, they're like, oh no.
Oh, joy.
Oh, it's you.
Oh, it's you. Okay, what else we got?
Nothing.
So if you watched the short video that I did today, it's only about 11-minute video. You heard me whiny balling about the shipping fees, and it's really just a pain to everybody. So our shipping fees have increased because they are at a historic high around the world, and we cannot afford to absorb those costs, those additional costs.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
We have to kind of send it to you. So I was trying to send a box that had 3 packages of miniatures. It was around 3 to 4 ounces, and a little tiny box. Oh, I can't reach. A little tiny box like this. And they literally wanted to charge me over $50 to send this to Australia. 3-4 ounces, costing me $50 to send this to Australia. And boys and girls, last year, or not too long ago, it would have been well under half of that price. It would have been closer to around $20 to have sent this. And it's just insane. So whatever is happening in the world right now is not good. And we're seeing it across the board. We're seeing it in our prices of food. You guys have to be seeing this as well. Every single medication that I take, and it's a lot, I have about 6 or 7 different pills that I have to take every day, just to make it through the day, just to avoid stabbing anyone. So I take a lot of medication. Every single pill that I take is now twice the price that it was just, last year or not very long ago. Yeah, doubled in price. So you could place the blame wherever you want. It is what it is. It's just the world that we live in. So it's just not a good situation for us right now. So we have had to increase our shipping fees before long, and we've said this before. So I like to give you guys as much heads up notice. Right now, our card prices have not increased, but we are going to have to increase our card prices because our card printer, has increased their prices. Our production costs are going to go up, and again, we don't operate on a huge margin. Cards were actually one of our lowest margin items because we're such a niche little operation. We don't get big discounts on our cards.
Yeah.
So we were already, just operating on a very narrow margin, and now they jump up the price, and everybody's got problems, right? So I'm not going to sit here and bawl about it, but I want you guys to definitely give you guys a heads up and let you know that, we're just going to have to increase some of those prices. And it is what it is.
Mhm.
Okay, so we talked about that. Kickstarter PDF. What do we have on that front,
I think
dear Bessy?
next we will be doing character cards that are
Ooh.
PDF versions.
Ooh, character card PDFs. So for those of you that ordered some of the character cards from the Kickstarter, you will be receiving a PDF of those.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Very cool. When do we think we'll be able to pull that off?
Soonish.
Soonish. Like the way she thinks. Where do you learn those kind of phrases?
You.
Soonish. 45, 46, 47.
You want to talk about the
48.
gangs versus horror?
Gangs versus horror. This was a question that came up recently. Before I get to that, though, I want to talk about the other question that's scribbled there.
I couldn't read that one.
Mastermind. This question. Oh, it was Bill, I think, had the question. No, I don't remember who started the initial question, but anyway, it was a question about how many sidekicks can you squeeze in to a league using like the Mastermind perk. And I think I guess the important thing to remember here is that Mastermind basically swaps out your leader for a sidekick. But that means you have a sidekick. That is the sidekick basically of the unseen mastermind that is behind the league, right? That still counts as the sidekick in that league. That's not really like the head honcho, right? So anyway, if you add Company of Heroes to that league, that allows you to add a second sidekick, so meaning 2. You have the free one and you have the second one. It doesn't let you get a normal sidekick in there because you already have your sidekick. They were free. You didn't have to pay any points for them, but you already have that sidekick in there. So if you want to add a second sidekick, then you have to get Company of Heroes, and then you could have 2 sidekicks plus a bunch of other numbskulls in there too. But you don't get 3 sidekicks. In other words, you don't get the free sidekick and then another sidekick for 3, and then Company of Heroes to add a third one. That's not the intention there. So good question there on Mastermind and sidekicks. And then the other question was gangs and horror, and this one is actually going to be clarified in the new characters book, but no reason not to answer it right now, because in the new characters book, there's going to be a page of errata and clarifications. So it's going to include a few things that were intended to be either in the regular rule book or to clarify things that were in the from the regular rule book, and that is one of them. So a gang rolls one single dice 6 for horror checks, and they get to roll a horror recovery check. So if you read simply the gang rules, it'll tell you that they don't have a health dice, yada yada yada. Then in the horror, it says that you roll your health dice. So for the purposes, just like for the cover save, right? For the cover save, there's a special rule to kind of take that into account for gangs. So for horror, you have to make that allowance as well. So They do roll a dice. It is a D6, and they are allowed to roll a horror recovery check. Although they don't normally roll horror checks. I'm sorry, they don't normally roll recovery checks. They do not normally roll health checks, but for horror, they get a D6 for the check and for the recovery. Anyway, that'll be in the characters book on the errata page. All right. Anything else?
Let's talk about Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh.
It's monster truck time. Is that what we're talking about? Oh, excuse me. I had chili for lunch.
Don't blame that on the Cooner beans.
It was the Cooner beans.
What scenario are we playing, kid?
Oh my gosh, boys and girls. It's time for the big baddie scenario. This is the Hollow scenario. And it's going to have Michael Green Hill.
Michael Green Hill.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I was thinking Green Street. I knew that wasn't right. It's Sydney Green Street, right? I think that's his uncle. So Michael Greenhill and David Lowe will be playing co-op. It's going to be the horror scenario, the Hollow, but it's going to be Cthulhu mythos, H.P. Lovecraft setting. So it's going to be a spooky monster out there. There's going to be a spooky mythos style creature appearing and gobbling them up. Probably most of them will be running crazily around, insane, gibbering. Some of them will turn and start shooting their friends. It's going to be a mess. You don't want to miss it. Is that all I have to go over tonight?
I think so.
That is 8:28 by the clock on the wall. I guess we could call that good. Do we have any questions from the boys and girls?
I don't think so. No more eating face.
All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching tonight. We really do appreciate it. I would like some of your feedback relating to the video that I did earlier today, whether or not the video quality was up to snuff. I thought it was. I thought if anything, it was at least on par with this, maybe even a smidge better. So I don't think it was bad. And I'm still wondering, I still want to try a couple tests about the audio. So if you haven't seen the other video that I did earlier today, I really would appreciate it if you took a look at it and kind of gave me some feedback, whether or not, because it was a live stream and just, off the cuff, most of it is I just sit here and blather.
That's what you do all the time.
Everybody, please enjoy a can of Cooner beans this evening. I guess that's it for tonight.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go click. Ow. Wasn't my fault.
It wasn't
my fault. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it.